Hello, welcome to Local Matters. There's an election coming up in May, and we have 4 school board seats that are open for election, and we have 3 that are contested. Now, the school board seats in McMinnville are at large, meaning they cover, everyone can vote for these different positions. And I have with me today a school board member that's up for re-election. She's very experienced, and I'm glad to have her with me here today, Janice Braich.
Right.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
You bring an impressive amount of experience to the table. Tell us about that.
I'm not sure impressive is the right word. I will say going on the school board was, kind of an eye-opener. I think it is for everybody who goes on. The learning curve is very steep, and it takes a few years. And it was nice to finally get to the point where I felt like I understand this financial situation. I understand how the schools are run. So to be able to build on that, and 16 years is a long time, and why?
16 years.
Yeah, and why,
school board member.
4 more years, and thinking, I'm kind of at the point where I'm comfortable in my knowledge base, and I feel like I have been able to contribute and would like to continue to contribute, to the school system. And it's kind of like a proud parent. We've made so much progress over the last few years, and I'd like to continue and see that grow and build. We have a very important bond coming up. I'd like to be able to, help work through that. So I thought, I'll go for 4 more years.
Well, let's back up a little bit. How long have you been a member of the community?
About 29 years. Yeah.
And where are you from?
I grew up in Portland and lived in various cities around Oregon, both with college and post-college.
And had a career here. What did you do?
Yeah, I was a nurse at the hospital here I retired a little over a year ago, so it was about 27 years, I think, I worked there.
So serving as a nurse, working as a nurse, serving on the school board has been a big passion of yours.
Yeah, I mean, everything I've kind of done since volunteer-wise, being in the community, has pretty much been centered around kids. I was a parent volunteer when my children were going through schools, and that's what kind of got me involved in the schools. I initially did a lot of work with Oregon Together, which was a drug task force aimed at drug prevention for children. Did a lot with the Mayor's Charity Ball and Kids on the Block for many years, and so everything I've kind of done has been aimed around children, because I think it's really important that, they're our future. If we don't invest in them and make sure we have good citizens coming out of our schools, it behooves all of us to have that.
Let's back up a little bit. When you came on the school board, how is it different now? What did you find then, and what's happened in these 16 years?
Well, education has changed so much in the last 16 years, both with federal mandates and with the type of students we have. I think our dropout rate at the high school was around 13% when I came on the board. Now it's like 2%. We had a lot of problems at the high school. We had, there was
Can I stop you there? The dropout rate is very low, but also the graduation rate is a lot lower than 98%. How do those statistics work?
The dropout rate, you're talking about like a four-year cohort.
Well, the graduation rate I know is around in the
It's like in the 60s and
high
statewide.
69,
We're at
right.
80% in our district, so we are much higher than the state.
So how does that correspond with the low dropout rate?
The dropout rate is actually the amount of in a 4-year period of the actual dropout rate of students who don't complete those 4 years. And it's the way the state calculated it, it's really convoluted, and it has to do with the 5-year student, which they count or don't count, and it also has to do with the type of program they're in. So if you have alternative programs, some don't count that, and we do count that because we want that to show in our statistics. So they're not apples and apples comparing them. They're done completely different as far as how they're calculated.
Well, that makes sense to me, because I know that our school district here in McMinnville has an excellent reputation, and yet you hear the graduation rate is low, but the dropout rate is low too. It seems to be a matter of statistics. I can't see that. I can't imagine that we're doing such a good job with award-winning
our graduation rate is
award-winning superintendent, and not having a graduation rate that is exemplary as well. But the dropout rate is.
Yes.
From what you're saying.
Like I said, our graduation rate is like around almost 80%, 79 point something. compared to 68 the state. So we are above the state, and we do include our alternative students and our fifth-year students, so that lowers it some too. If you took that out of it, which some schools don't,
I see.
would raise it even higher. And nationally, it's that 80% is a really, good rate on a national level.
Well, you've seen some changes in the high school since when you
yeah.
came. Can you tell us about that?
High school, McMinnville High School now is considered one of the top high schools of its size in the state. We have one of the best percentages of student growth achievement. Like I said, our dropout rate. We have the highest in the state of our College Credit Now program, which is career and college readiness program, where kids can earn college credits in high school that apply towards their college transcript. And I think last year the number was close to $700,000 worth of, college credits that those kids took when they graduated. We've did a symposium this year for schools all over the state that came to visit McMinnville because of our exemplary program, which is really nice to see that we've been recognized both in the state and also nationally for the program we have. It's been a lot of hard work. It's taken many years. Part of having that program is having the teachers who are qualified to teach that, so you can't just take just a master's educated teacher. They have to be able to match up credentially to the college that they're going to be teaching the course for. And so that took a lot of effort on the part of the teachers to get extra credits and to be, and we've in hiring new staff that matches those credentials. So it's been about a 10, 11 year process, but it's great the way it's paying off. And for parents, the amount of money they can save, and seeing kids go into college as a sophomore, or in some cases even a junior, with the amount of college credits that they've earned, gives them that much more time to go on, to graduate school and have the money, to pursue, further endeavors. So
We've spent a little time talking about the high school. Let's move down to the middle school level. What you have some news about our middle school, one of our middle schools.
Oh, you mean the high school?
High school. That's
Yeah,
true.
actually the high school.
Yeah.
Chris Olson was named Oregon's High School Principal of the Year yesterday morning, which is very, very well deserved. I'm very excited for him. And it's amazing. We've had 6 Oregon Principals of the Year since 2007, and I'm not sure that there's another district in Oregon that can match that. I've heard David Douglas is pretty close, but for Oregon Principals of the Year, and one of those, Kathy Carnahan, became the National Principal of the Year, and 2 of them, Mary Alice, our superintendent, and Sean Burke, the high school vice principal, were one of 3 finalists for national. So, I mean, that just shows the caliber of the administrative team we have at our schools, and that just trickles down, from the top to make it, a great district. I'm very proud of it.
Very impressive. There's been some changes in the pre-K mandates that are made.
Yeah, Oregon is, mandated, not completely mandated, but full-day kindergarten next year. It's really up to the district whether they can. They've given us some funding, not complete funding for it, but we're going to go ahead and do full-day kindergarten next year. And we also have a couple pre-4-year-old programs. Our district is part of a consortium in Yamhill County to try to get all the preschools on the same page as far as curriculum and preparedness for kids going into kindergarten, which is really important. And we're trying to reach those kids that are kind of between Head Start and private pre-K, because there's a lot of them out there. And it's just statistically has shown that the more effort you put into the early intervention, it really pays off, especially by 3rd grade.
You were quoting a statistic to me of another state that they had done.
Oh, it was just I went to a conference, this was years ago, but the state of Indiana used their 2nd grade reading failure rate to predict the number of prison beds so many years down the line, and they were just right on, and that just really stuck with me, that how sad that is. But it shows that if a child is not at grade level by 2nd or 3rd grade, the chances of them not succeeding, really are great.
And there has been changes lately. We've gone from Oaks testing to smarter balance testing. There's a lot of talk about that. There's a lot of emotion.
Common Core.
I've heard it's like a political.
They're like nasty words.
It's a political football, high stakes testing, these kinds of words. What have you seen in the McMinnville School District around these issues?
Well, Common Core, first of all, it's not a curriculum, it's standards. Oregon has been a standards-based state for many, many years. We've always had standards. Every state in the past has developed their own standards, and this is an attempt at having national standards. In other words, have the same throughout the country, Whereas then you can compare apples and apples. Right now, somebody may be doing something great in the state of Illinois, but we have no way of comparing that to another state, what they're doing. But this way, it'll provide the ability to be able to look at state by state and have us be able to learn from each other. It was also an attempt to have higher standards. Now, standards don't change. I mean, an algorithm in math is always going to be an algorithm in math, but it's more how you do the standard. It's more critical thinking and problem solving, really digging deeper. And so it's raised the proficiency bar. The standards are higher. So a child in kindergarten may be learning now what they used to learn in first grade. It's basically bumped that up to put us more at a level, at a global education level, to be able to compete globally.
Now, to reach these standards, the school district, though, has freedom to adapt any kind of curriculum that they want to meet those.
Yes, the curriculum is not mandated. Every district has the right, has the obligation to form their own curriculum. And we have teachers that are on committees that look at the books and establish that curriculum. And our district, this has been coming on for 5-6 years at least, and kind of took the attitude early on that, we're going to embrace this and just do the best we can, because you can't just say no, because there's a lack of funding issue that if you just say, sorry, not going to do it. But it's been a real process and a real learning process, and I have to give the staff and the teachers and the administration a lot of credit, because a lot of extra time and effort has been put into the ability and helping the teachers learn new teaching strategies and being able to take the standards and unbundle them and really look at doing common formative assessments with the standards. And they've actually been using the higher standards for the last year or two, and I kind of have a gut feeling that our scores were really, really good last year on a state level, and I have to think that part of that is because we have been teaching to a little bit higher standards. Now, there's some question, are they age appropriate, and that's going to have to be kind of worked out. Maybe in some grades it is maybe going to be a little too tough, but why not set the bar high? Just, rather than set it low and go up, why not set it high and, have to adjust? The big controversy, I think, is the testing, and that's always a controversy. It's a big business, testing is, and they had to come up with a test to be able to test these new standards. And they didn't want just one test nationally, because they didn't think that was good just to have one. So there was a lot of competition for different companies to, produce tests. And there's now 2 main ones, and we're in a consortium of states that are using what's called the Smarter Balance test. And this year will be the first year it'll be done. The teachers haven't seen what the test looks like. They have sample questions, but it's going to be new for them. The big difference is with the Oaks test, it was all multiple choice and, very easy. This is going to be a much more challenging test for the students in having to use actual computer skills to drag and click and maneuver on the computer himself, as early as 3rd grade. Not just that, but it's going to have to test their much more, like I said, critical thinking skills. They're going to have to be able to elaborate and be able to discuss. For example, in reading, you just read a text before and answered questions. Now they're going to have to read 3 texts, compare them, elaborate, have evidence as to why they're supporting their answers. So it goes into much more depth. And the hard part is the Oaks was instantly scored, and we could get immediate feedback. These are going to have to be hand scored, and so we're not going to get feedback till the beginning of the following year. Hopefully that will move up the schedule a little bit, in the future, but that's going to be kind of hard for immediate feedback.
Janice, we're just about out of time.
Oh.
I just want to ask you, why do you want to go back?
Like I said, it's kind of like a proud parent. I've just seen so much growth, and I kind of want to finish it a little bit. And like I said, we have a bond levy coming up.
Yes.
I want to be involved in, and I just part of it's just giving back to the community. I've been blessed, and I think I'm a good team player on the team, and I'd like to continue.
Well, thank you so much for your service, and best of luck to you. And thanks for being here with me today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Well, join us again. We'll be having interviews with the other school candidates. And for today, though, that's it on Local Matters.